my mind work backwards just for a minute? I hold on to you before the memory's gone. I remember you, you lift my spirit. With you high is all I'm feeling. Remember how we felt alive. I remember you, you make me stronger. Can't go without it much longer. Remember, remember, I remember you, you lift my spirit. With you high is all I'm feeling. Remember how we felt alive. I remember you, you make me stronger. Can't go without it much longer. Remember, remember. When I close my eyes, I can almost see it. When I take a breath, you fill up my lungs. And if my mind worked backwards just for a minute, I'd hold on to you before the memory's gone. I remember you, you lift my spirit. With you high is all I'm feeling. Remember how we felt alive. I remember you, you make me stronger. Can't go without it much longer. Remember, remember, I remember you, you lift my spirit. With you high is all I'm feeling. Remember how we felt alive. I remember you, you make me stronger. Can't go without it much longer. Remember, remember. When I close my eyes, I can almost see it. When I take a breath, you fill up my lungs. And if my mind worked backwards just for a minute, I'd hold on to you before the memory's gone. I remember you, you lift my spirit. With you high is all I'm feeling. Remember how we felt.
Hello! Oh, that was fast. There's almost no delay in Picardo. Anyway, today we'll be continuing the 3D model we started the past stream. If you didn't see it, you can go check it out on my website. It's archived on Odyssey. I would much prefer you to watch it on Odyssey rather than on YouTube. But you can also find it on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, you have the video playlist in the video description, and if you're on Odyssey, you can go to my website and find all the Odyssey archives there in my website, listed one after the other. Otherwise, you can just go check my Odyssey channel. You can find the videos there too. this time I've put a little link to the Discord server if you want to join me while I stream. I am in a voice channel right now, and I've got Discord connected to the stream, so we'll be able to chat on stream. I changed the levels of the. I think I'm a little. It might be a little quiet. Not sure. The last stream, I noticed the last stream has sort of strange levels. Let's turn on the music a little. Okay, yeah, that's better. I can hear myself better. I'll have the music on the stream a little higher this time, so you could barely hear it last stream. Hopefully it's gonna be better. Give me a minute here. I forgot to do something. I didn't have the stream quite as ready this time, and I'll be right back.
When I close my eyes, I can almost see it. When I take a breath, you fill up my lungs. And if my mind works backwards just for a minute, I hold on to you.
Alright, that should be it. Everything should be ready. Let's switch over to Blender. Let's check the levels of the music and stuff. Hello, hello. Yeah, I can barely hear it. I think I might be able to turn it up here. That should be better. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. No, that's too high. Hi, hi, hello. Testing. Alright, that seems to be alright. If anything, I didn't forget to hit record this time, so if this becomes a problem, I can just grab the video. I'm recording the stream into a file with different audio tracks, so I can touch the levels later if necessary. Anyways, you can, as I said before, you can find the Discord server in the video description if you are on Odyssey or YouTube. If you're on Picarto, you can find it on the screen below. Anyways, let's get back to it. I'm just gonna bring up something else here. Oh, I might not be able to do this. My CPU isn't happy. Oh yeah, my CPU is very unhappy. Okay. Oh well. Alright. Let's actually get to it now. Where's my Blender window? I've got too many things open. There we go. Cool. So, before I started the stream, I was noticing the eyes popped out, which they need to, but the head here, the skull is quite sort of has a divot here that I don't want it to have. I mean, I do, but it should be sort of this shape, and it's right now this shape. I didn't notice that, but I did that last time. So let's fix that up first. Today I wanted to hopefully finish the hand. make it look decent and not this blocky mess that it is right now. And hopefully start the beat and sort of fix up the tail shape here. And we'll see if we get to defining his muscles and stuff. I want to leave the mouth and eyes for last, maybe. I'm not sure about that yet, but I might want to leave those for last. It's kind of a complicated thing to do because we gotta pressing all the wrong shortcuts. If you watched the previous stream, you should remember all the shortcuts, so try to remember to mention them. So it's G to move. Remember, this is if you're watching on Picarto, this is supposed to be a tutorial stream thing, so you can watch the entire process. Later I don't know if I'll be doing that yet. I might be releasing a tutorial series that I am going to grab the streams and cut them up into more bite-sized pieces, so you can see, so you can watch exactly what you need to and know more. I don't like the way these fold up. There we go. Yeah, I like that better. It makes a sort of the division line here in the eye. That's fine. I actually kind of want that. I'm thinking a little sculpting here. If we go to the sculpt tab up here and then grab this brush, which is to make bumps, right? But if you press Ctrl, you make a divot. So I'll use this to push in. I'll up the strength here, push in this area a little. Not much though. Sort of like that. And then grab this brush to smooth it over a little. Too much string. Go. Yeah, I like that better. Then go back to layout and fix up all these errors. We are using a mirror modifier. If we extend this area here, go to the modifiers tab, which is this one. We're using a mirror modifier to make sure that the other half of the face is exactly the same. So what happens here is the sort of overlap when you try to sculpt it. So I'm gonna fix what I just caused. What I want to do is I want these vertices to be on the exact same position in the, if you look at the gizmo in the x-axis, so you press S to scale, X to scale only along the x-axis, and then 0 to scale it to 0, and you see they go to 0, right? But now we have this huge gap. What you do is you just go to the transform here. You can bring this menu up with N or by clicking on this arrow, and then you set 0, and there you go. All those vertices are back to the middle of the model. Right. This looks a little rough over here. You see how it's a little sort of blocky here, and it's making the geometry look like come out quite well. I'm hesitant to add any geometry because this is for a 20-year-old game that does not have the greatest performance, so we want to be conservative with our geometry, so if we can make it look smooth with little vertices, we'll try. And this is just generally a good thing to do for any game. Right now we are 7,000 triangles, which is reasonable for a Second Life model. I've seen certain things that do not justify that much geometry that are about this complexity. So it's pretty okay for an avatar, I'd say. Okay, I'm pretty happy with the head as it is right now. Let's move on over to the hand again. So let's see what I was doing here. And if you click this button, you can make this is a subdivision surface modifier. And what it does is if I remove the view of it here, is it grabs a simpler geometry and it just adds more to it. And if you have it in this mode, it sort of runs up the geometry. If you put it in simple, it just adds more geometry, but it does not change it. It does not change the overall shape. Let's hide this out of the way for now. And if you click this other button here, what it does is in the edit mode, by the way, the hotkey to change from edit mode back to object mode is tab. So if you hit this button here, you can see what it does. It wraps around, it wraps the geometry nodes around the object. And sort of makes it only gives you the vertices that it has before the modifier, but it wraps the edges around the resulting geometry after the modifier, so that makes it a little bit easier to understand what's going on. So let's see, this is a thumb, or it's supposed to be a thumb at least. So we should have the, what's the word in English? I forget. Articulation? Joints. The joints. We should have the joint over here, so your knuckles, basically. No, not your knuckles. I'm stupid. Forget I said anything. Alright. That seems sort of okay. Okay. That's already looking much better, isn't it? It's gonna look better once we use the Boolean modifier to join these pieces together. Because right now it's very low geometry and it's two parts clipping together, so it's not gonna look great. And here, what we sort of want is a sort of wrap around, if that makes sense, like the claw up here is like sort of coming out of the rest of the finger, like out of the center. That's the look I'm going for here. So I'm going more for like the claw of an alligator, for example, that had this sort of look. I can't quite remember if it looks exactly like this, but it's more similar to this than nails of an ape, for example. Yeah, I'm happier with that. And let's see if we can get away with copy pasting this. So I'm gonna hit Shift B, as in darling, to copy this finger. And let's hit the 1 in the numpad to go to orthogonal view and start adjusting this so it looks more like an index finger. Now, an index finger will also have, it's gonna be the tip, so an index finger will also have another articulation that the thumb doesn't have. So we're gonna need another piece here. I'm hitting the wrong. So it's G and then X, Y, or Z to snap to a certain axis. And because we are in orthogonal perspective, if we drag something, we're only dragging it on, if you look at the gizmo here, we're only dragging it on the X and Z axis. So we are sure that we are not dragging it along the Y axis. Right. Now this part should be shorter, and so should this one. Let's start making things look more natural. What I want to do right now, because it's bothering me, is grab the palm, start shaping it a little. Add some more geometry. What I did right there is Ctrl R to make a loop cut. And because this was originally a cube, it makes that sort of loop cut all the way around. And if you wanted to make a loop cut, let's say vertically, what you do is you put your cursor near the center of a different vertice that's horizontal, not vertical, and it'll make the opposite cut perpendicular to what the vertice is. And I'm thinking I could benefit from one here, one vertical cut. Right. Wait. One thing that I've seen a few 3D furry artists do when they're doing hands that I'll try to avoid, and it's something that they do because they're very inexperienced with making humanoid models, I guess, or very inexperienced with 3D modeling. I'm not gonna call out specifically who I saw doing this, but what I saw they did, it's bothering me. Go. I just hit H to hide it, so they can H to hide. So as I was saying, what I saw them do with the hands specifically is they did what I'm doing right now, which is make them very sort of flat and square. It just looks terrible. And with the hand, it's easy because you have a reference model all the time on you. So what I'm getting at is I'm gonna try to avoid falling into that pitfall of making the hand look flat and square. So it should not look like that. It doesn't matter if your model is in a T pose. It should never be completely flat because a hand is not flat. Right, let's add another loop cut here. For now, let's do that. I just hit S to scale. When you have two vertices selected and you scale them, what it does is it drags them further to the center of whatever the position is. to the relative center of that position. And double tap G to drag along an edge. Excuse me. Where did Blender go? There we go. Give me a minute, I'll organize these windows a little better because I'm having trouble revising what I should be checking during a stream. So this goes there. There goes my OBS. There we go. Sorry about that. It's just that I have a bunch of other things I should have access to, but I was having trouble looking at which window, like figuring out which window I was looking at. Right, what's going on here is my geometry is moving offset, by the way, to enter into X-ray vision. So let's move these of the y-axis a little. Here we go. This entire area of the hands. So 3 to select one through 3 to select the different selection modes. So 1 is vertices selection, which you've seen me do. Then 2, and you can see it up here too. You can click this instead. Is edge selection. It basically selects 2 vertices, and then face selection, which selects a face, which can in 3D space obviously be comprised of a minimum of 3 vertices or 3 edges too. It's one thing. This is a hand, it should sort of do that shape. So let's drag this up. And then these down. Okay, that's making more sense now. It could also be helpful to have a reference of the hand you wanna model. But because I like banging my head against the wall, I'm not going to. Oh, and by the way, I just moved that finger freely. Should not have done that. So what I'm gonna do is Control C all the way and move it in an orthogonal perspective. That way I know I'm only moving it again in the Z and X axis. You see, it doesn't pop out of here anymore. Let's go back to orthogonal perspective. Again, the orthogonal perspectives you can access with the numeric keyboard. I don't know why I had so much trouble spelling that, but okay. One thing is this should roughly follow the orientation of the joints should roughly follow the shape of the hand. Now this should be overall shorter. Just the index finger, now the middle finger should be only slightly longer. And then the pinky should be overall smaller, and we're not gonna have 5 fingers on this character just because I don't feel like it, and it's more work that I just don't want to do it, and that's also not the look I'm going for anyway. I want this character to be a little cartoonish. Right, so since the thumb, the body is in this direction, and this would be thumb, then we know that the knuckles should be on this side. So let's add a little bit more geometry here and here, and so start and try to start making this more into a hand shape here. See if we can sort of indicate that there's knuckles. I don't necessarily want to model the knuckles because, again, I want to keep this fairly low poly. But I want to hint at that there's knuckles here, which we can do later with a normal map too. But if we can get the detail in geometry as well as in the normal map, that's gonna be even better. For those of you who don't know and are maybe this is your first 3D project, or maybe your first complex one, a normal map is a special kind of texture that has height information in it, as opposed to color information in it. So what that means is that the whatever the rendering engine is, and this is true for pretty much all rendering engines, not to say all because I'm not an expert, but pretty much all rendering engines, what they do is they sort of derive this height information out of an image texture instead of a sort of 3D space data like planes and vertices and all that. And they use it to generate a sort of fake geometry, fake shadows atop the model. And what that and the effect that has is it gives the illusion of more detail in the 3D model where there isn't. And that's really good because doing this technique has a really low cost in terms of performance, in terms of the work the graphics card has to do. So that's really great. You'll see normal maps are really important to 3D games, and they can also be incredibly useful for 3D animations because as you can probably guess, it takes way less time to render a model with a very complex normal map than it does a 3D model that has millions of vertices. You've probably heard about this if you heard about the infamous game The Under Simulator and the funny 3 billion pixel, 3 billion triangle hairbrush. Oh, I just realized I made the... See, this is why looking at references is important and I'm not doing it. You see this bump here? This should be the... It's way too big. That there certainly is a sort of bump here near the index finger. The pinky. When I put it on the wrist part of the hand, I'm very smart. Right, so let's correct that. should be a bump here. I'm probably gonna end up adding more geometry to these hand. It's already looking sort of like a hand, which is good. It's definitely too rectangle-ish up here still. Hold on, I need to check something. Okay, sorry about that. We shall continue. Alright, let's drag that there. And you see I'm attempting not to... If you're noticing, I'm attempting not to have anything that's exactly square or like a rectangle. Trying to get rid of all the geometry that sort of hints at that. If we end up with some weird looking things, we can always just add a little bit more geometry and fix it. And I'm talking of specifically of planes that are not exactly square or a triangle. Let me quickly show you what I mean. So we bring the goddamn 3D cursor to the center again. If I add a plane, then go edit the plane. If I grab one of the vertices and then move it, suddenly this shape does not make sense. And you can see it renders weirdly. What's happening here, in this angle is pretty obvious, is that it's turned into two triangles. And that's fine, so we can always triangulate. What you'll see is if we tell Blender to triangulate this, there we go, triangulate. It'll turn it into two triangles. But we can even have situations that don't make any sense, like that, for example. How do we triangulate that? So that can be a problem, but we can always triangulate the geometry of the model, or just add more geometry, or fix up our problems. Now, I'm not happy with the way this looks here, and unfortunately I'm gonna have to add some more geometry. Right here, between the fingers, so I can have my knuckles. Gotta love red hedgehogs. I know, I'm super funny. Never got why Knuckles is called. I mean, he's got huge knuckles, but that's kind of lame. But I'm nobody to judge. I literally got a character who's a kobold, and his name is Kobold. So I'm in no place to judge silly names. I'm just rambling. If you want to join the stream, have a conversation, maybe ask questions, there's a Discord link down below, both in the video description if you're on Odyssey, or in Odyssey or YouTube, and in the screen down below. I'm gonna select this selection tool. You access it by pressing C, as in Charlie. I'm gonna select these and scale it a little along the x-axis. Then scale it a little, S to scale by the way, along the z-axis to make it flatter and smaller. That way we get sort of more of a trapezoidal shape that a hand has. We're also gonna move it a little towards the pinky finger, and let's have the pinky also a little bit rotated like that, because it should come out a little. Honestly, I've never modeled the hands, so it's coming out quite decently. If I should say so myself, of course. Hopefully it's only one more stream. I can't promise anything, but hopefully it's only one more stream until we get to rigging this model. Is that? No, that's not on the same sea height. Oh well. How are we doing? Let's see. Just checking. Because I don't trust myself, I don't trust the software. Let's see, can I hear myself? Alright, yeah. No, it's just checking because there's nobody in the stream right now. I chose to do this in stream, as a stream, even though I've got pretty much no audience for video-wise, that is. It's because it's just generally easier. That makes sense. If I try to do this as a video, then I'll want to edit it and I'll want to make sure I cut out my ramblings and make sure I present the maybe even re-record some lines of things I say because they're important and I didn't explain myself very well. And that's a lot of work that I'm not willing to put in, but I really do want to make sure that this information is out there and available, because it took me an unreasonable amount of work to figure out all that I needed to figure out to make a Second Life avatar. So I really want nobody to through all the effort I went through to figure out how to do it without using stupid add-ons that charge you honestly way too much for way too little. And everybody seems to be using Maya and those paid add-ons, so I'm really doing this out of spite, to be honest. But I didn't want to put an insane amount of effort into making nice, presentable tutorials, so I'm doing it in the stream. And I'm also doing this in a stream, another good reason, because that's not a good reason, but this is a good reason. And that reason is that if I just do this in a stream, people can see the entire process and can see that it's no black magic. You know what I mean? It's oh, what have I done here? As I was saying, people can see the process and can see it and understand it, and they really understand that doing this is, as I was saying, no black magic, and that everybody with 2 brain cells can do it. It just takes a lot of time, and I understand that not everybody is willing to put in that time, and that's fine. That's why people commission artists. Anybody can draw. I'm a testament to that, because I used to draw like shit. I used to draw like a little kid. And I'm not exaggerating. My drawings were the level that of a little kid when I was 18 years old. And now I'm not great, but I've gotten so much better, to the point where I've gotten paid a few times to draw stuff for people, so I am proof that anybody can do anything. It just takes time and practice, and as I was saying, not everybody's willing to put in that effort, and that's fine. That's why, as I said earlier, like, that's why we pay artists to do stuff for us. Well, that's why we pay anybody to do most jobs, really. I generally have the shape I want here. I'm just kind of touching and refining and stuff. One thing is that the wrist here, that this would be part of the wrist, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. The problem here is it's too wide, and it's not thick enough. Let's turn on proportional editing. Let's make this wider like that. It's also gonna be a little hard to make this hand reasonable because of how thick I've made the arms and how thick I want the arms to be. So it's an interesting body type to be modeling. Right, proportional editing is fucking me up here. Man, I really need to go into Blender settings and change the shortcut to move the 3D cursor. It's incredibly infuriating. Someday I'll do it. And then I'll update Blender and I'll lose the setting and I'll forget what I set it to. It's also annoying to change Blender shortcuts because there is so many that pretty much all combinations of all modifier keys are occupied. So if you change something, what do you change it to? See how that's looking. Sort of looks like a handle, right? It's not that bad. It's not that bad. I just, the shape of the arm doesn't really make any sense, so that's what it's making it look bad mostly, I think. But we'll get there with that arm. It's just placeholder for now anyway. So what I need to do now is keep these fingers claws. They don't have claws. So let's rotate this one. Z-axis 90 degrees. Not 9 cancel 90. 90. There we go. Go back to orthogonal perspective. That way we know we're moving it only as on a certain axis. And remember, we made the pinky finger a little smaller, so it should be the claw should also be a little smaller. Right, they're not exactly in place, but that's fine. These fingers also were modified anyway, so. And I think I may want the claws to be separate objects because of some modification of a mod I want to make for this model later. At a later date, I want to make this model into something that's a little bit of a surprise, but you can probably guess. If you know me or if you've seen my thumbnails at all. So what's probably gonna happen to these claws is they're gonna get rounded up. So I want these to be able to be something that you just equip in game, that you attach, and it's rigged, but it's an attachable thing. That way you can either not have them and have these little weird holes in your fingers if you want to, or have a different type of claw, different design. Want that to be an option for what I want to do, so at a later date. So I want these claws to be their separate object. I'm not sure if I want them to be an entirely separate object, like each claw individually I'm talking about. No way, should be moving is the claw. See, I shouldn't be moving the finger, but the claw. Okay. This is definitely too wide. Alright, it's starting to look like a hand. You know what I noticed? I've lost this sort of round shape here. So let's bring maybe these two vertices up with proportional editing. That makes sense. A little bit more sense, doesn't it? How long have we been live? About an hour. It's fine. We got very little done for an hour of work. Or it seems like it, but that's fine, that's fine. There's no rush. And I'm telling that to myself because I really want to finish this. I am kind of... I'm not in a rush. It's just I'm excited to have this implemented in game. But we are still quite far from having something that we can integrate into the game. Let's see if we can have a knuckle here without having an awful lot of geometry. That's not a knuckle. I don't even know what that part of the hand is called. And if you ask me, and I couldn't even tell you in Spanish, so it's not a lack of... It's my mother language, Spanish, by the way, if you didn't notice. And it's not a lack of the English vocabulary, it's just that's something I plainly just don't know. This might be messy later, because what I plan to do with all these loose parts is apply a Boolean modifier to them. So we're gonna have to patch up a lot of geometry. I'm doing it this way. That doesn't mean you have to do it this way if you're following this tutorial. You can do it however you like. Probably do it better than I. You're a professional 3D artist. At some point, once I get a little better, I plan to take permissions for 3D characters, so making 3D characters, making integrations for Second Life. So I know some people that may be willing to pay for a commission for that game, so it's definitely a market I could get into. And it's a game I like anyway, so it seems kinda fun thing to try and work. I lost my train of thought. I forgot where I was going with that. Blender is an awesome tool. I really like it. It's really easy to work. Man, I wish more people would use it. I know tons of people use it. It's just Second Life crowd seems to pretty much like their proprietary tools, and I really don't get why. A lot of people seem to be using Blender now in Second Life, but they're still using proprietary tools, which it's fine, but I don't like to support it. Like, it's fine if you do it. Like, I'm not gonna make you change to LibreOffice if you use Microsoft Office. I think there's beauty in choice. That's precisely why I use Linux anyway. It's just I don't like to support it myself, and it's kind of infuriating when you try to do it the open source way, and it's not for a lack of tools, but for a lack of it's just a lack of people not doing it generally, so there's a lack of information around it. It's not that it can't be done, and it's not that it's any harder than with the proprietary tools. It's usually the case that it's either easier or just as hard, but the problem ends up being that since nobody does it that way, it ends up being harder, not for virtue of being harder by just being generally harder, but it ends up being harder just because nobody does it that way, or nobody uses that tool for that specific thing. That and Second Life's lackluster documentation is what has had me so frustrated with making content for the game, because it's an awesome concept and one that Silicon Valley executives seem to only just now figured out that it's an awesome concept, or that people think that it's an awesome concept, and they're trying to claim that they invented it, which is hilarious. But there's also many problems with Second Life too, and it's mostly incompetence in my opinion. Things like they didn't have bones back in 2003 when they came out, and that's kind of mind-boggling, because like, how do you not have bones? Like literally every other game of that time has bones. Like that's how you animate things. And the fact it took them so many years to have a system where you can attach things to your character, is to the character's bones and stuff, and modify the bones and so on and so forth. It's kind of, as I said, mind-boggling. And Bento isn't like no savior either. The Bento avatar is ridiculous. Like, why do I have to load all those bones? I mean, you don't really have to have all the bones. That's great, actually. But the thing is, if I'm not mistaken, the game loads the bones anyway, which is, why are you doing that? Not being able to have a custom skeletons is very limiting. I saw this presentation by a guy a while ago that was pointing out how ridiculous it was, that the fact that a motorcycle, if you wanted to animate a motorcycle, the motorcycle had to have a pelvis and an arm and all that, and it's just really funny. Really funny, not in a good way either. It's just really funny in a I can't believe this is that bad way. I'm thinking that when I go to model this, to rig this hand, I might just leave it as is, leave these as separate pieces. I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. I'll leave it as is, and then if I see it looks fine with the clipping, I'll just make the hand multiple parts, and then if it doesn't, I'll just use a Boolean modifier to join the geometry together and make it look decent. second, I'll skip this song. All the music that's playing, you can find it in the video description if you're on Odyssey or YouTube. It's all from the YouTube channel No Copyright Sounds. It's also attributed in the list on my website's page about this tutorial series, and it's also, you can find the link to that list in the YouTube and Odyssey channel's video description, or rather live stream description. In case you wanted to know what the music was, or in case anybody wanted attribution, the attribution is already there in the description. I'm just making sure you know. Right. I don't want these fingers to look exactly right, or exactly what would be the word? Anatomically correct. That's not the point either. I mean, it is kind of the point, but what I'm trying to say is I don't want them to look exactly symmetrical or sort of perfect, you know, in a way, if that makes sense. Because they're fingers. They're an organic shape. And they don't need to be perfect. They just need to be generally follow a certain shape. If that makes sense to you. Alright, let's go to this one now. Hope the levels are okay this time. I'm also not gonna check them. I'll check them after the fact, and if you can hear me right, which is the main concern, that's fine. You can't. I'll re-upload it. I'll re-upload the recording where I can adjust the levels. So what you see here is taking on a sort of rectangular shape, which we don't want. Should never be a rectangle. So it's a finger. You don't have rectangular fingers, do you? Hey, Vsauce, Michael here. Where are your fingers? I'm laughing at my own jokes. Vsauce, great channel. You should go watch it. In fact, stop watching this stream now if you are, or video or archive, and go watch a little Bezos. You won't regret it. He's gotten memely famous for having those really funny statements in the beginning of his videos as a sort of opening question to a philosophical debate. I think "Where Are Your Fingers" was one of them. Just divagating here, just my mind wandering off while that was so funny. The song, the music, just all of a sudden I'm gonna break your neck. That threw me off. This is really wrong. This is last finger. After this one, I think we'll go to the FOSS. After the FOSS, I don't know what will we do after the FOSS, the tail. Just move the 3D cursor again. Oh, it says lock 3D cursor. 3D view center is locked to the cursor's position. Now, if I do that, yeah, that's not what I want. That says view lock. I am dumb. Yeah, I'd like to Blender, please make a feature to lock the 3D cursor. I want the 3D cursor locked by default unless I actually want to move it. Who does move the 3D cursor anyway? People who are making huge like sceneries and stuff, but like otherwise, do you move the 3D cursor at all? Or do you just spawn things in the center of the world and that's it? Oh, that's the music, isn't it? I was really confused for a second. You know what? I'm gonna skip this. It's really throwing me off. If you don't recognize that sound, that's the sound that that speakers make when second generation mobile phones are, or whenever there's a second gen mobile phone having a communication with the cell tower, and the interference gets picked up by the speakers, because it's very low frequency compared to 5G or 4G or 3G even. So what happens is, I don't know if what catches the interference is the amplifier within speakers, or if it's the speakers themselves that catch the interference. Probably the amplifiers. So it would have to be a fuck ton of power to interfere with speakers. So it's probably the amplifiers. And that happens with not very well insulated amplifiers, obviously. typically PC speakers are not very well insulated. So they're not supposed to be hi-fi. How's that look? I'd say that's pretty fine for now. Let's see. Let's move on over to the FOSS. I'm actually just gonna steal these class here. So Shift D to duplicate. I actually want 3 of them. There we go. Rotate with R in the x-axis by 90 degrees. Actually, minus 90 degrees. There we go. And one thing is I want, let's see, which one's bigger? This one. I want this kobold to have 3 toes, where his middle toe is biggest. So that's usually the way you draw them. That's also the anatomy of my persona. He has 3 toes, and his middle toe is grossly large compared to the other 2. And that's just how he is, because that's how I've decided to design him. It's also an 8-headed dragon, so it doesn't have to be anatomically correct. So let's do that same thing here. The wraparound mode. Start adding more geometry. You know what? I think I'm gonna add 2 cuts. With mouse wheel, you can add as many cuts as you want. I wanna have 2. Let's see, has there been any comments? No. Hello. 1. Hey. Is the Picarto stream down? I saw one watcher. Picarto, hello to watchers on YouTube. Hope you're not getting too bored with this. Same Picarto. Hi. Well, one watcher probably, because I'm playing the stream to make sure it's running. Anyway, back to modeling. You can join the Discord voice chat, by the way, and you'll appear on the stream. You can ask questions if you have any, or you can just have a conversation. Right? See, let's add a little bit more here. Let's slowly start turning this into a hood. Start looking pretty good-ish. Time. Huh. Right. what I'm doing here does not make much sense. There we go. And then this entire loop, probably want it closer to the toes. You know what? This could be, I'm being a little stupid here, this could be a totally great candidate for a mirror modifier. It's gotta be symmetric. So let's scale this along the x-axis to 0, obviously. I'm not exactly sure why it's not aligning. Like, let's just try it anyway. Actually, let's remove this side. Oh, that's why, because I've got the wraparound enabled. I'm just being an idiot. And let's add generate that modifier. Generate mirror. Let's move it up. And why is it looking like that? Oh yeah. You know what? These are probably not. You bring up this menu with N, by the way, or by clicking in this arrow. Item. They're not in the center of the model. Still looks weird. You know what? I'm just gonna start this put over. And would you look at that, the 3 cursors are already. So it's not a cube. A little smaller. Generate a subdivision surface. And also a mirror. The mirror before the subdivision. Start a loop. Remove this. And now we have our mirrored thing. There we go. That's a bit of progress there, but it's probably for the better because it's gonna be more symmetric. That's a little bit. There we go. So back to orthogonal view. X-ray mode with Z. Scale this along the x-axis to 0 and move it to 0 coordinate. And there we go. That's fixed again. Now we want this front part to be wider. So let's do that. Yeah, that makes a little bit more sense. Orthogonal view. Let's fix these up again. Let's move these along the x-axis. Now, let's make sure that these toes are the size I want to be. I want him to have quite large nails. Let's bring up the rest of the model for reference. You know what? Let's make it a little bigger. Yeah, so where his toes are like twice the thickness of his fingers, that's fine. That's about what I want. This skull was gonna have quite unique proportions. We're gonna have to move this hand for the position of his arm, but that's fine. We can do that later. When we get to... Hold on. When and if we ever get to coding the behaviors of this avatar, I'll be... You know what? I'm not convinced by this. Grab this, scale it on the y-axis a little. There you go. As I was saying, when and if we ever get to coding the behavior for this avatar, as in making it play the animations and stuff, making an animation override, all that sweet stuff. One thing is I'm gonna have all of the resources. I'm not gonna publish the 3D model. I'm still going to sell this 3D model. These videos are merely meant to be sort of tutorial on how to do this at all. But if you want to use this model in game, you're gonna have to pay for it. However, I will have all of the coding stuff publicly available on my website for you to copy paste, because that's not really something you can sort of gatekeep, if that makes sense, because it's not really gatekeeping, because I'm selling it and it's a model for people to use anyway, so I intend to put this up on the marketplace so people can be muscular kobold. As I said earlier too, the whole muscular thing is... I'll try to do it. We'll see how it comes out. Now, these here. Oh, like that. But by far the biggest is to be here. There we go. Let's make this render smooth with mesh shading smooth faces.
chewed up and discarded. And this world ain't right, won't accept it. Negative energy, I expect it. Once it's in your mind, it's infectious. So fight for
This needs to be rotated on the z-axis a little. Too much the foot.
my adrenaline spikes when I'm threatened. And if you stay in my way, I'm aggressive.
I don't really want to make this smaller, maybe a tiny bit smaller, but I'm still gonna have to. You know what? I'll delete this one so I know both of these are the same. But I have to adjust this a little bit because I don't want to make the toe smaller, and I don't want it to leap outside either. I think it doesn't align right. Oh yeah, that was definitely the problem. Same thing here.
And this world ain't right, won't accept it. Negative energy, I expect it. Once it's in your mind, it's infectious. So fight for your life and reject it. You better give me space, I'm protective. My adrenaline spikes when I'm threatened. And if you stay in my way, I'm aggressive. Cause when there's no exit, I'll kill when I'm desperate.
I think that's fine. Let's do this. Sort of like that. Let's duplicate this one. Or maybe might be a better idea to select both of these. No, actually, select one. A mirror modifier. Along the y-axis. And then, no, you know what? I should apply all transforms first. And then, oh, this already has a mirror modifier. What? Let's apply it. And, right? No, wait. The mirror modifier might have been the one I added, right? Yeah, it was, okay. Then, as I said earlier, add a mirror modifier. There we go, in the x-axis. And then do the same to this one. And we might wanna grab the x-axis of these, paste it here. Huh? No, wait, why is it? Oh, because the origin is up there. Why is the origin up there? Enter volume. Let's set the volume. Now, in theory, no, wait. What I'm trying to do here is use a mirror to so if I move this, there we go. See what I'm trying to do here? So I'm using the mirror modifier to make the other claw, because I know this is perfectly symmetric, so no matter, like, it doesn't need to be different. That's what I'm getting at. The problem is with what I did just now. I moved these. There we go. I also want his claws to have a separation like they do here, but maybe not as much. Maybe have a point slightly more forwards. Yeah, like that. Let's fix up these claws a little. Make them point forwards a little more. Okay, I'm happy with this. Let's just modify it over here. So now I've changed the orientation. That's probably okay. We'll sort this out when we do the what's the word? It'll come to me. It'll come to me, don't worry. Boolean. We do with the Boolean modifier to join this into a single mesh. That's what I was trying to say. Right? You can probably see now that it's taking more foot shape. And don't ask me why I've decided to make his feet so goofy. I just like it this way for some reason. Right. Yeah, just checking if there's any chats. Actually, give me a second here. There we go. Now this part's gonna be a little trickier. So I kind of want this area to sort of look like he has ball hats. But that's gonna be hard because I don't want to increase the amount of geometry too much. You know, we only have 88 triangles on this area now. But if we go back to edit mode, to object mode, we can see it's 8,000 triangles only on this leg. We turn the rest of the model on. I don't really have a budget, but we're already at 14,000 triangles. We might have to look at doing some optimization later. Likely, our poly count is, and keep in mind, it's gonna pretty much double when we actually give this guy 2 arms and 2 legs. I've considered giving him wings. I don't know if we'll get to do that, but it's for giving him wings, it's pretty much the same thing as the rest of the model. You just gotta use the wing bones that Bento has. So what I'm getting at here is we have quite a bit of geometry. And although I'm trying to keep that at a minimum, we've still got over 14,000 triangles. So we might have to look at some optimization later. See where we can reduce some geometry. Let's try to give him those bombs. For sure, I'm gonna need another loop there. I'm gonna have to adjust all of these. Hello! I'm streaming how I make a 3D model. You can find that on
Nada,
YouTube.
pongan subtítulos.
Alright.
¿Cómo estamos?
So this is my friend here, who seems to not want to speak English. I'm assuming you can understand me, right?
Can I go to the bathroom, please, teacher?
Alright, so I'm gonna speak Spanish for a little bit. Sorry, guys. Estoy haciendo una serie de tutoriales y los estoy haciendo en livestream, ¿viste? Estoy como hago un personaje para Second Life. Y
Entendible.
por eso el canal se llama como se llama. Y bueno, puedes ver el live stream, aunque dudo que te interese. Está en YouTube y en Odyssey también, y en Picarto. Voy a seguir por 2. ¿Cuánto llevo? A ver. 1 hora 50 minutos. Voy a seguir por una. Capaz que 1 o 2 horas más y lo dejo para el siguiente. Si te sirve volver dentro de 1 hora, puedes quedarte, pero voy a estar hablando en inglés porque estoy hablando de lo que estoy haciendo y explicando alguna que otra cosa mientras la hago. Entonces, eso, voy a estar hablando un montón de inglés, así que capaz que te conviene volver dentro de unas horitas cuando te pueda hablar en español.
Está bien, está bien. Vuelvo entonces un ratito. Wow.
Alright, that was that. So I basically told him that it's a friend of mine who joined the call. I hope you could hear him. You should have. I basically told him that I'm gonna be explaining a lot of things and talking a lot in English. So because I want this tutorial to get to a lot of people, so it's gonna be English. I didn't say that part. I probably should have said that to him. The thing is, as I was saying, like, I want this tutorial to be in English because I wanted to get to a lot of people. Seems I'm gonna have to extrude this. Yeah, that's much better. Since I want this to get to a lot of people, I need to do it in English, because most of the Second Life community speaks English. So yeah, I basically told him that I'm gonna be speaking a lot of English, that he might wanna come back later when I'm done with this live stream. Paw pads for the win, guys. Who doesn't like big squishy paw pads? G said, there we go. To make sure these are all about the same height. Because they should, right? Except they're paw pads. So let's grab the C height of this one and just put it in the other vertices. No, I want the global height things. What just happened? Global C height. I think I'm just gonna trust that that's at the correct height. I'm gonna do the same thing with the rest of the vertices. You see, I'm not selecting the text. If Blender has this really nice feature where if you press Ctrl Z or Ctrl Z rather, with your cursor on top of a text box, it'll copy whatever the contents of that text box are, and then you can do the exact same thing again and hit Ctrl V on top of a text box without selecting the text, and it'll paste it in that text box. So that's a really nice feature that Blender has. Really like it. Makes things really easy. Right, so there's that. Then let's now do this area here. I forgot to mention the shortcut to extrude. That's E. I didn't want to have to extrude that, but I ended up doing it anyway. I didn't want to extrude because it would add more geometry, but if I wanted that look, I would have to extrude that at least once. Ideally, I could extrude it more. But again, I want to be conservative. This is for a game. Right, there we go. Oh, what just happened? Oh, there we go. Let's see, can I achieve this look if I move these vertices there? And move these. No, if I move those. That's fine enough though, is it? Yeah, I'd say that's fine enough, but actually, this looks too flat. Like I purposefully made it flat, but now I'm thinking I might not want that. It doesn't look natural. It looks like his feet have been squished. Ah. Right. I'm just gonna leave that like that. It's good enough. It looks like a foot to me. Let's see. Let's select O with A. Not Control A, just A. And I think it's Alt H. There we go. To unhide it. And take a look. I'm okay with this. What do you say? We go for the arm or the tail now? I'm not sure what I want to do next. Let's go for the arm. See if we'll make this a little better. We're not gonna do his muscles yet, but let's try to make this more of an arm shape. First thing I'm gonna do is add a geometry here, so I can actually have a shoulder. That does not look like a shoulder. We're also gonna want another loop cut here. Here's where we can start fixing or improving where the arm meets the hand. Might also be a good idea to rotate this entire area a little, like that, so you can move the hand and have it not clipping through the leg. Oh, you know what? I just did a really bad thing, which is I rotated the arm. Well, not in orthogonal view, and also the hand. So let's make sure I don't rotate this in a direction that isn't Z or X. Axis, no direction. Sorry about that. There we go. I want to grab the image. Something like that. Now we can go back to the arm. No, I'm thinking this hand is still a little too square. And I'm thinking my problem here is that the thumb here makes an angle that should not be making. This hand's done. Like if you look at you open your hand like this one is, and the thumb should not be making that angle. If it is, I don't think your hand is healthy. So let's try to make this a little flatter. Rotate it. Like that. That makes more sense, doesn't it? Let's hide the arm for a second. Back to the hand. So I just made something look terrible here. If we're moving all this, we need to move our vertices here. Now I could be using proportional editing. Don't scream at me, please. I feel really sorry for telling him I'm just not gonna be speaking a lot of Spanish right now. I kind of feel like I told him to go. But yeah, it's just what happens when you have your Spanish-speaking friends in your Discord server that you do a lot of things in a different language in. And I'm mostly doing this in English, as I said, because I wanted to reach as many people as possible, and a lot of to not say all of furries, which is mostly whom my target audience is. Not with these tutorials, but it also applies for these tutorials. Most of them speak English anyway, so if I want to reach to as many as them as possible, it just has to be in English. And since I know English, I can speak it somewhat decently. I might as well do it in English, so I can reach as many people as possible. Alright. So again, I'm still not convinced with the angle this is making here. And also, I'm thinking this area here would be a little better if it was like that. So it's earlier today, and are not rectangular. They are sort of trapezoidal. If we want to compare it to a geometric shape, because hands aren't really a geometric shape anyway, but if you want to use one, closest one, my opinion is a trapezoid. Yeah, in my humble, non-professional artist, amateur artist, and I call myself not professional because even though I have gotten paid, I don't, professionally do this. I don't live off of this, so I wouldn't consider myself professional. That's in my head, at least the definition. I don't know if that's correct or not. That makes more sense, doesn't it? Let's see. Now what I'm noticing is the ankle. Oh, oops, no, rotating in not orthogonal perspective again. Let's try to... Oh, that's right, it's orthogonal perspective. I'm just gonna hide it because I don't really need to see it. I didn't draw the hands on the reference. I mainly did the reference so I could have an idea of what I wanted to model. And you see what I'm talking about when I say that the tail is square? That is so funny looking. Now, another thing that I'm noticing is that I was doing the arm and then I got distracted fixing up the hand, but that's fine. Another thing I'm noticing is that this sort of bump here that comes from the thumb should have a valley, and this valley should come towards to the somewhat center of the wrist, and it doesn't. So let's try to fix that. And then there should be a bump here, but it should do sort of that. Let's see if we can manage this without changing the poly count. The problem here is that I might actually not have enough geometry, I think. But I'm just gonna try to manage, and I'm not gonna add any more. Doesn't have to look absolutely perfect, because who looks at their hand all the time? I know I myself mostly look at the heads, so what needs to have a ton of geometry and be absolutely perfect is the head. I'm not too put off by weird looking hands. Right, that's better, I think. Alright, let's try to continue with the arm. Let's see how we do here. Might want quite a bit more geometry in this area here, because this is gonna be the elbow. The elbow should be around there, because if you think about the hand position, if you have your hand extended with your palm towards your back, your elbow naturally goes to the side almost. I think maybe here, a tiny bit up to the side here, sort of there. It's about where the elbow should be. That also gives us a little bit more geometry to work with here, by the palm.
How could you ever love me? You don't even see me. I'm hanging around, wasting time, hoping that you drop by.
And it's starting to look.
And I don't pretend to know what you want. I don't even know where to start, but I'm willing to try. Even if you push me under, it's only gonna make me stronger. It's only gonna feed my hunger. Say the words, say the words. Even if the tides
That's not what I wanted to do. There we go.
the world keeps burning, nothing's gonna stop this feeling. Say the words, say the words.
Let's see, can we get a shoulder going here? Shoulder bone. And its muscles.
Watching the flames burn higher, setting my world on fire. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, risking it all on you. And I don't pretend to know how you feel. Either you won't or you will, but I'll give it a try. Even if you're too blind to see, and even if you look right through me, I never thought it would be easy. Say the words, say the words. Even if the world stops breathing, and every beating heart stops beating, nothing's gonna stop this feeling. Just say the words, say the words.
We definitely need another loop here. So it's not looking round. We can organize them later, right? To look more realistic here. Like actual muscles. Right now I'm just trying to get general roundish shape all around. Okay, that's a little better. Let's hit A here to select all, then Alt H to re-show everything. It's generally starting to show here. To appear like an eye. Let's go back to the tail. See if we can make this guy less square. Give him the roundness he deserves. And that's gonna make him look thinner, but that's fine, don't worry. We'll fix that. Nope. I wanted to go out of edit mode and hide that. He still has open, but that's fine. Can fix that, don't worry. He's already looking rounder. Let's hide these legs. It is easier for us to see the tail. And you know what I'm thinking? I'm not convinced by words will come to me. If you lose the camera's position like I did there, if you wanna refocus on something, let's say you moved it like way the hell out of the way, you press period on your numpad and it'll refocuses the camera on whatever you've got selected. So if you wanna find something, you can select it in the layer view, then press period and focuses on it again. Now it focused on this because I'm in edit mode. It's 0. So what I did there is X, press S for scale, then X to snap to this X-axis, and then 0 to scale to 0, and then we'll change the median here to 0 on the X-axis. That way we'll get all the vertices to go back to the center, and they'll merge together again. We're using a mirror modifier for symmetry. Now let's make this tail tip an actual tail tip. And as I was trying to say earlier, I'm thinking that it might just look really cool, better even, if we give this guy a longer tail, but I'm not sure I want to do that because it's quite a bit of work, and I'm just not sure whether I want to go down that alley right now. I'm thinking it might just be better to try and get this model to a state in which we can start rigging it. So what I'm gonna do here is rotate it in Z-axis so it like gets smaller towards the tape. Right, that's beginning to be more round. Let's see what happened here. Oh, that's what happened. There we go. These vertices were too close to the center. And these separated, which is fine, as X. SX0 and then 0 here, and that's fixed again. Let's see. So what I'm noticing now is we've got quite a pronounced bump all the way up to here maybe. So maybe it's a good idea to drag these vertices down so we can grab these ones and move them along the Z-axis a little bit down. Maybe even rotate them along the X a tiny little bit. I'm probably doing this the completely like wrong way or like hardest way. That's just the way I know how to do it. There's probably better ways of achieving the shape that I'm trying to get to here. One thing that comes to mind, for example, is you could do this with a Bezier curve and solidify it. I've done that before. It's actually quite easy. It just didn't occur to me at the time, and this is the way we're doing it. So this is the way we're gonna do it. We started with a cube. And this is quite obviously coming from a cube. If you look at the way the geometry is right now. And I will move this in that direction. There we go. Needs another lip cut here. The neck's getting wider, but that's fine. Again, we can fix that in a minute. I want this guy to be a tank. So he's gonna have quite the wide shoulders compared to his abdomen. Most of my characters look this way. Actually, really draw and make some other body types. I really don't, just because I like this. I think that's fine. You do something a certain way because you like it that way. It's just good to generally, if you're an artist, it's just good to generally try, new and different things. Get out of your comfort zone for a little bit. But because I'm doing this for my own sake and also your entertainment slash information, I thought you might as well do something that I like. Right? I know this guy has a short neck, and I'm debating right now whether I want to leave it short. Let's make another loop cut here. Because that way I can give him the shape it needs to have on the chest. I'm gonna do here now. So I want him to have I want him to have a little bit of a thick neck. I need his back sort of join into his neck. His arm is a little disproportionately large. I said at the beginning that was my intention, but we'll see the way it looks later. See if I want to adjust something. I know one thing is for sure though, is I want this bubble to be a funky looking little critter, so there's certain things that are gonna be this way regardless. Let's see if we can get away with... No, I'm gonna have to add more geometry if I want to model these pectorals here. We're not gonna do nipples because we're on YouTube. But I might be adding nipples later. So if you want to see that, follow me on Picardo. Now we're gonna need another loop cut here because vectors, you know your anatomy, they join with the shoulder area here at a sort of an angle. Oops. See if I can do this right. Now, see if I can get away with dragging these down. Definitely gonna be needing a bit more geometry around this area if I wanna do what I wanna do. Also, this pivot here should not continue all the way up the neck, obviously. So let's try to fix that. This should fix it about there. So G, Y. Outset for, again, repeat myself just in case. Outset for going into X-ray mode. Oh, the dilemma. I want to get away with as little geometry as possible, but sometimes it's just not possible. Or I'm not good enough, I guess, too. Right? That looks good, though. I just smooth it out with the smooth out brushing scope mode. How many triangles do we have right now? No. Right. I am. How do I? Right. If the resolution of the 3D modeling software changed, it's because I touched something in my window manager. I'll be right back in a second. I'll be fixing that soon. Hold on.
When I close my eyes, I can almost see it. When I take a breath, you fill up my lungs. And if my mind works backwards, it's for a minute.
Yeah, should look fine now. I just touched the shortcut and it changed my layout, and there's a bar that appeared that it always does. I have no idea how to get rid of it, and I have not looked it up. So yeah. So my voice is getting tired from. My throat's getting tired from talking non-stop. So let's push through a little more and we'll cut it here. But we got quite a bit of progress done with it. We now got a hand, a foot, and the overall shape of the kobold is starting to make sense. That's awesome. Let's see, what am I doing wrong here? Just hitting the wrong shortcuts like 20 times. Of course. Wouldn't be me if I didn't. And because of these vertices here, I think it can look fine if I just do that instead. Yeah. Now I gotta really show those gotta really give him that pack in his chest. Totally necessary. Couldn't be a great character if it's not either incredibly muscular or unnecessarily thick. It just has to. If you don't, the furry police comes to your house and arrests you. I'm not gonna go too crazy on this. I'm probably gonna do about 1, 2, 3 abs. And that's about what I'm gonna do. God, I'm thinking now about doing the UV unwrapping for all these. model. That's gonna be fun. That's certainly like one of those few parts I really would rather not do, that I really do not enjoy making really stuff. Doing the UV unwrapping. I'm honestly surprised by how little geometry I'm using for this. I thought I'd use way more. No, I've got that one selected, so that's why it's not wanting to move up. There we go. G said, and GY. There we go. And these need to be a little lower, if that makes sense. Because his body's going into this shape. So it needs to sort of go down as it goes, like move in a sort of circle, because of the shape of his body. Because he's got like this continuous tail, and that's just how he sits normally. Which I'm sure it's really fun. You know how like people who know a whole lot about anatomy and stuff say that our spines as humans are just really badly designed and are just really bad for bipedal stances and stuff. I'm sure this guy has it even worse. I mean, just look at him. Think about this. Your spine just has sort of this S curve to it, and you sit like right in the middle of that S curve. All your weight is just in the middle of this spine. And like half your weight's gonna be sustained by half your spine, and then your other half is supporting almost nothing compared to the rest. It's gonna be fun. But hey, anatomy, furry characters. Who cares, right? I'm thinking I might not talk on more detail regarding muscles in this area. And what I'm gonna do instead is I'm gonna add the rest of the tiny muscles in a normal map, or just might not add them at all. That's also fine. I know these arms look terrible. I need to keep working on them a little more. Dogs be like, right? I don't know if you can hear them. Not really much I can do about them. I'm gonna mute myself for a little bit till they shut up. Alright, the dogs seem to have shut up, and I'm pretty happy with this. It looks okay for a chest. It's a pretty muscular chest. That's okay. It's exactly what I wanted here. Now, since I added some geometry for the rest, might be able to use it here to do the neck muscles. Let's see if I can do it without running in this. Some people really like to sculpt their models, their 3D models. I'm really not that good at sculpting. I much rather do this, which some people call it polymodeling. I just find it generally more manageable than sculpting. Oh yeah, that looks okay. Maybe now that you know what? Let's make a look here and give this couple an Adam's apple. Right. Totally necessary to give the kobold an addons sample. I'm pretty happy with this, except for the arm, obviously. There's a slight issue here. We can quickly fix the fact that it's separating. Now the other problem is that it's making a weird bump. It's gonna be a little harder to fix. I think what's really gonna fix this is moving it up. Like this. Maybe not even doing, like, moving it that much more upwards, and maybe grab this vertice, have it also a little inwards, continue the muscle. There we go. Yeah, that makes much more sense. And I'll tell you one thing, I wouldn't have been able to get this far if I didn't know how to draw this stuff. In 2D, I mean. It's just doing 2D art gives you the understanding of the 3D shape. Like, you can sort of imagine the shapes in your mind, and that makes you able to then carve it out of a material, sculpting with sculpting, or carve it out of a material, sculpting in a traditional sense, with, you know, carving things out of plaster, for example, or marble if you're rich. I've actually done a few sculptures, like actually 2 sculptures. They're not really all that interesting, but the thing is, being able to do that, or being able to draw this whatever you want to model, being able to draw it in a traditional sense with a pen and paper, is really helpful to later, or at least I found it really helpful to later be able to do it in a free modeling software like I'm doing right now. So yeah, it is totally valid to go draw and learn to draw before you learn to 3D model. And it's also valid to do it the other way around. It doesn't, because the first time I tried modeling something, didn't get too much done, but at the same time it was still a learning experience, and it was still valuable regardless of whether I got something done or not. And I think that's really important. And do not get discouraged if people tell you, no, you gotta learn this. Just don't pay attention to those people, and just do whatever you find enjoyable, and studying will come later. And if you enjoy yourself first, then studying the matter that you want to learn comes more naturally. That was my experience with art, at least. I actually got very discouraged in high school, because we have where I live, we have art classes that are mandatory, and most of the teachers are really bad, so you end up hating the subject, not wanting anything to do with it. Hence why, I mean, I'm still a nerd and I still like computers and stuff, but it was a big driving force, the fact that my teachers were so bad, that drew me away from wanting to have anything to do with art in general. And what happens is you hate the subject, and then you don't want to have anything to do with it, and you lose interest in it, and even though you actually do like it. And some people don't get out of that and end up hating all art altogether, and that's fine. They find fulfillment in something else, and that's totally fine. Like, I'm not saying you should go study art. You should do what your heart desires, and my heart desires to make muscular furries, so that's what I do. I'm really glad I'm able to do it. So as of right now, I don't make a living out of it. Hopefully someday, with more studying and consistency and working on it, on my skills, working on my portfolio and stuff, someday I'll be able to have a career on it. Hopefully, career I would like to have on this is one where I just create for a public, and I would like them to have some say in what they want me to create, but ultimately I want to be the one who chooses what I make, and just make content for people to enjoy, whether it be a 3D model for a game that I'm putting into a game, like Second Life, for example, or be it, you know, animations that I make with that model, or be it 2D art or a comic or whatever it is that I happen to be making, whatever project it is. Or just make furry content that people can enjoy and find interesting, or just generally things that people like. Art, furry art, that is, obviously. Right. I'm trying to spread these out. Just being a little hard. There we go. What I'm doing right now is trying to spread out some geometry to make it less dense in certain areas, and also at the same time more round. If that makes any sense to you? Like, the geometry density shouldn't be all over the place to begin with, because it can cause weird stretching when you're animating. You want most of the model to have an even amount of geometry. Obviously some certain areas are gonna require more, and that's fine, but it can't be all over the place. think previously I've only rigged like, what, 2? Yeah, previously I've only made 2 rigs, 2 of which I never used. I never used any of those rigs I made. See, that's much better. I never used them, but one of them, the other wasn't, but one of them was functional. And I did put it into Unity, I just never finished the project. It was one of those things where you start a project and you just, it's an idea and you just never get it anywhere. Like, don't even like start doing much work in it at all. You just, as I said, never get anywhere with the idea. That was kind of what it was. What's happened here? My pegs need to move upwards like that. Can't rotate that geometry, which is annoying, but what's the problem? There we go.
Relationships will often end in disgust. And I know you want my love, but there's nothing to discuss. I don't need you in my life no more. I don't need you in my life no more. I got no money, it's getting sunny, but I still feel cold. I've been nose running, you funny, you going
We're getting somewhere. This torso is pretty much done. I thought the Odyssey thing have gone out for a second, but no, it hadn't. Let's keep going. Let's try to get these arms looking more decent. Hey, how many triangles are we? Do we have 18,000? That's about within budget. I expect I'm gonna have a hit about 25,000. If I don't hit over 25,000, I'm gonna call it decent. Because I've seen things way more geometry again. But I'm still going to try to optimize. I don't want my model to be huge. I want the cobble to be huge, but not the model. Not necessarily aiming for accuracy here, so please don't like, hate me for putting muscles where there shouldn't be. So just keep in mind, accuracy is not my goal. I just want this to look mostly fine to the untrained eye. I need to sit down and study and use references. or musculature, if I want this to be accurate. And I'm not about to do that, so it's gonna look the way it's gonna look. So don't try to reference this video if you wanna look. If you wanna make muscular characters, that's not what this video is about. This video is about how you do this in Blender and how you do a muscular character in Blender. Do you get me? It's not trying to teach you how to do muscular characters at all. I just happen to be trying to make the character muscular. So far, it's not terrible. Lost track of where my elbow should be. Should be around here, I think. I've turned this into part of a muscle. That's great. I just started having fun with making this character look weird, and now no longer have an elbow. That's fine. There's nothing we cannot fix. Let's call that an elbow. I know it looks terrible right now, but trust me, bro. Now, if this was a commission, I wouldn't be streaming it first. And secondly, I would have looked up some references to not do this shit. What am I missing here? Wonder.
This is a little awkward. Things haven't really been working out as well between us, and I think it's time for both of us to kind of just move forward.
You know what? Let's try to extrude. Let's say it's there. Since we're not using a mirror modifier for this, we could also be looking at how it's, looking at the other side. So let's move it to the center. Add mirror modifier. And oh, that's really weird. Okay. Yeah, I think I know what's going on here. I rotated it. And now it's... Yeah, there we go. Okay. Let's just move it back to the center. And in theory, we can do this. Although not really. And I think that's because the rest of the model isn't in the center. I'm still in edit mode. Select all. Then move it to the center. It didn't look like it moved.
Well,
Well, sorry about that interruption. Where was I? Oh yeah, I just centered the model. And I was trying to put these arms back where they were. There we go, that makes much more sense now, although I shouldn't be moving them without being in orthogonal perspective. There we go. Now I don't really know what was the rotation they had. Right, that's about right. That's fine. So that's that.
Let's talk about I'm gonna be better than you thought. I promise I won't jealous. You don't deserve it all. I'm gonna be better. Let's talk about. Let's talk about.
That looks very strange. That's fine. That's fine, that's fine. We can fix it. We can fix anything.
It's been a long time, I've been waiting for you. I got my feelings up and it's just for you. I just need a little bit of time to breathe in and out. I just need a little bit of time to ease up my mind. All for you. Situation
I'm just gonna have to re-upload I'm just gonna have to re-upload the recording. I'm just gonna clip that part out, that little interruption out, and it's all fine. It's all good. What I'm thinking? I'm obviously doing this wrong. But yeah, well, has a little divot in it too, where the nerves go through. That's why when you hit your elbow, it hurts so much, because you're literally hitting an exposed nerve, and that's also why it feels so funny. So it should have a divot. Around it. Yeah, that looks like it makes more sense. I'm not looking at any references right now, I'm just going off gut feeling. So, might not be great. Oh, I'm certain it's not gonna be great. Alright. I'm just checking the chats, making sure that in the off chance that somebody commented something that I responded to them. Also, I don't know why I muted myself instead of going to the be right back page that I got set up in OBS. I've literally got an I'll be right back scene set up on OBS, and I didn't use it this time. I just got nervous, I guess. I'm gonna delete the YouTube. You know what? I'm streaming on Odyssey, and Odyssey uses blockchain. I don't think I can delete that video. Oh well. I mean, I told them that they didn't want to appear and stream. I told them when I was gonna be working on this model, so I mean, it's completely their fault, so guys got 2 arms. His shoulders are way too big. I mean, I like him having huge arms. I just think the muscles, huge shoulders. I mean, I just think the muscles on the shoulders are a tad big, reaching where they shouldn't be reaching. That's all. It's gonna take a while for me to make this look decent. Hey, what is this music? Get out of here.
What's up, you guys? For those of you who don't know me, my name is Josh Rubin. I just recently released an EP.
You know that you control me. Guilty self-affliction. Prey on me when I'm lonely. But now you're a willing victim. My friends already told me that I don't wanna
I could have curated the playlist that I was gonna play beforehand. But I also could not do it and just skip the songs I didn't really feel like playing in my stream. And so that's exactly what I did. Did not touch the playlist. I just got a bunch of songs from a source that claims to be free for use, or like from a source that claims that all the songs that they publish are free for use. I just put them all in a playlist. Alright, this is looking much better, isn't it? I don't know who I'm asking, there's nobody watching, but that's alright. Mainly asking myself whether I'm happy with what I'm doing here, or if I need to fix something. You know what? I think we're gonna leave it as it is for today, and I'll come back to this hopefully with a better idea of how I'm gonna do the arms, because I mean, it's okay-ish, but I'm not happy with the result. I'm really happy with the result of the chest, but I'm not happy with with how the arms are looking, so I'm gonna come back to this later. So next stream, as we've been doing, it's going to be next Friday. So next Friday at 5 p.m. -3 GMT, I am going to be streaming again, and I'll be continuing this model from where we left off today. We are probably gonna start the arms over because I'm not quite happy with how they turned out. I'm happy with how the feet look, and the hand is mostly okay. I just need to join it together. The arms are my issue right now, and the muscles are not looking quite right. I really don't like the way I've done them. I need to go look at some references here and there and make it better. So yeah, you can find the stream archive in my website. If you're on Odyssey, again, or YouTube, you can find the links in the video description. And you may have a great weekend. Bye!